Thank you everyone for attending. We're going to kick it off today. Welcome to the LPL Financial Info Session. My name is Kelsey Nager and I'm the Employer Experience Coordinator with USD's Career Development Center. So I work with employers to get them to career fairs, interview days, and info sessions like these. So we're excited to have you here. A few housekeeping things to start off is the layout of the event. So we'll do a presentation from the LPL representatives, and you can ask questions at the end. If you have questions throughout, feel free to either unmute yourself or type them in the chat box, and I'll either voice them for you during the presentation or I'll voice them at the end. So you can either unmute or type them to me or the group, and I'll voice them for you. So whatever you are most comfortable with. If you are looking to get Compass, Passport, or Connect points for this event, there's nothing else you need to do other than stay on for the presentation. We'll use the registration data as well as the Zoom attendance report to award those points. Just give us a few days to get them into the system. It's all manual right now, being virtual, so you will get them. It just may take a little bit longer than normal. And then a notice of recording again, if you would prefer that your face potentially may not be recorded right now, because the session will be on our YouTube channel. Please turn off your camera now and it will not be included in the recording. Lastly, I will send a follow-up email to the students who attend today with information about LPL, the positions they're hiring for, and their contact information. So you can look out for that email by the end of the day. And that's all I have. So I'm gonna pass it off to the LPL representatives. Thank you for attending today, Sarah, Nicola, and Kate. And we are excited to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that warm intro, Kelsey. Really appreciate your partnership in helping putting us together. And so excited to see so many of you and have a chance to connect with you in a bit of an unorthodox way compared to how we would normally do it. But hey, we are all living through this together. And so I'm really happy to just be able to share a little bit more about LPL, who we are, some of the things that I believe makes us unique in terms of an employer of choice for those who are looking to get started on their first career path out of school, and then also finish up with some details on one of the job openings that we have available now, which is our financial analyst rotation program. But before we hop into all that, just want to give you about 20 seconds of an overview of who I am, and then I'll turn it over to my two other counterparts who are joining me today to do the same. So my name is Sarah Pace. I'm an Assistant Vice President of Corporate Finance here at LPL. Been here for about 2 years, and I am originally from Pennsylvania. So I'm a Penn State graduate in 2010, which makes me sound really old at this point in time. But it has been super easy adjusting to the Southern California lifestyle for me. So Nicola, I'll let you give sort of a 20-second hit list on your background as well.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Nicola Benaderet, and I am a Vice President at LPL in a group called CFO Solutions. And I have been with LPL for about 2.5 years now. And I have lived in San Diego for 6 years, and I'm sure like all of you guys love it and hope to live here forever. Kate, I will turn it over to you.
Wonderful, thanks, Nicola. Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Puckett. I am also a Vice President in the Strategic and Sourcing group here at LPL. I've been here for about 4 years now, spent over 10 years with another company prior in the food industry, all in strategic sourcing, and very happy to get to know you all today.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate and Nicola. So again, this is what we're calling a spotlight session. We've been running a couple of these just to give you a little bit of a peek behind the door of, like I said, some of the more unique attributes about LPL. The two things we'll be featuring today is our Women in Finance Employee Resource Group, and then again, the Financial Analyst Rotational Program. Before we dive into the details there, I just want to take a step back and make sure that we all at least have a little bit of familiarity of who LPL Financial is. And You know, again, if you haven't heard of us prior to this day, this isn't going to be a pop quiz on whether you did your research before coming to the info session. It's totally all right, and in fact makes a ton of sense. Sorry about that. Ton of sense if you haven't heard about us before. And the reason for that is because our clients are financial advisors. So LPL is the nation's largest broker-dealer. And what that means is we offer a variety of services in terms of back office support for primarily independent financial advisors. So these are business owners that have their own practice. They run their own shop, and LPL is really here to support them with various components of their building. Apologize, looks like an animation song. But what we do is we offer compliance oversight. We offer the technology platform by which our advisors can trade on behalf of their clients. And then we also offer unique access to subject matter experts who can offer as consultative partners to financial advisors. They are the individuals that can consult with advisors on marketing expertise, which would be how to attract new clients into their practice. They can also offer support on how to retain and grow the book of business that they have in existence. And then also we assist with succession planning and advisor level merger and acquisition deals. So the right side is sort of highlights some of the things that we do in terms of services for our clients. And the left side, again, we're a publicly traded company. This is just some stats on the size and scale that LPL has. If anybody has any initial questions, like Kelsey mentioned, feel free to take yourself off mute, put it in the chat, etc., and we'll be happy to address the questions as we go, or you can also save them for the end. So we talked a little bit about what LPL does for their clients, clients being, again, financial advisors. But I also want to make sure we hit on what LPL offers for employees to come to work for us. So one of the things about LPL is we are a rather large company, again, about 4,500 employees, as we saw, across 2 coasts primarily, Fort Mill, and then, of course, the location here in San Diego. And we offer all the things that you would expect of a larger employer, so competitive pay, comprehensive benefits, generous PTO, as well as a lot of flexibility, especially now that we're all in this sort of virtual environment. Not just an 8 to 5 necessarily that you're stuck into, although that works for a lot of people. We found that we can get our business done super effectively, even though the fact that most of us are now remote. One of the advantages is we do actually have really beautiful campuses that I personally hope to get back to soon, because there was a Starbucks downstairs. It was a perfect 3 p.m. pick-me-up. But alas, we also have on-site fitness facilities, cafeterias, etc. And we're over in the UTC area, for those of you who are familiar with San Diego, live around the area. But before I get too hung up on sort of the brass tacks of what we offer, one of the things that I think make us really unique as an employer is the fact that we offer what we call employee resource groups. So many of you, no doubt, through your college tenure, you participated in student organizations, you found volunteering that you're super passionate about, and you found ways to connect with smaller groups of students, much like yourself, even though you go to a rather big university as well. And so you'd still have that opportunity to connect with individuals who are like-minded, passionate about the same interests, in the form of the employee resource group. So this is a listing of some of them down here below, but one of the great things is we have Kate Puckett, who is with our Women in Finance Employee Resource Group. And so we're gonna turn it over to her and just give us a little bit of detail about what that particular ERG is, knowing that one of dozens, I would say, that we offer, and some of those have been captured here. So there's plenty to sort of identify with depending on where your interests are aligned. So Kate, I'll go ahead and flip to your slide and you can go ahead and take it from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. And while I may be in the Fort Mill office, or my background may be in the Fort Mill office, I think it's a great showcase to show how beautiful our campuses actually are. So I'll just call that out too. So yeah, as Sarah mentioned, right, we have a number of ERGs, employee resource groups, if I could talk, that help get us aligned and really provide us more ways to connect across just kind of what your line of business is bringing you forward in that. And so one that that I personally support and I'm on the board for is the Women in Finance group. This one is to really focus on the advancement of women and making sure that they have the tools to further their professional development, to own their career, and that there's a support network for them. It's certainly not limited to women within the finance organization, but it was one focus that we wanted to make sure was an ERG, and I'm glad to speak about it today here for you all. So we focus on, professional development, personal development, making sure that folks understand that they own their own careers and that we can give them the tools to do that and to move those forward and to be successful. We want to provide like a safe space and a forum for experience sharing and give them examples of other successes and maybe ways that they could mimic that or use that to further their career as well. We like to bring in outside speakers. We have networking events. We have kind of little, almost like forced drills, right, around networking to make sure people get comfortable in their skin and talking to all levels within the company. And then really it's to celebrate everybody as well. Recognize what's been done in the last year, who's really excited about what they've accomplished in their career and focus on highlighting the successes as well. And then you'll see at the bottom here in our 2019 highlights, here were some of the events that we sponsored last year with really, really good both attendance and results in. We had invited an outside speaker, Susan Stahlnecker. She is a former high-level executive with DuPont, now a board member at Bioventus and Leidos. And she was it was a really informal fireside chat where we just kind of asked her some of the things in her career that were either those moments that changed things for her or was a defining moment in her career. And then we also had a similar session with some women in finance leaders. I was one of the panels on the panel as well, and just kind of allowing folks to ask us questions about things in our career that made a difference or that we see as an opportunity. And then had a speed networking opportunity where we were having different connection points within finance, because even within a finance group, you can have certainly a wide variety of areas and you don't always know what folks are doing. We also brought in leaders from other areas. We have here, we had career pathing with a brand new woman executive into LPL, and she walked us through what she requires all of her employees to do. And it was really, really eye-opening and kind of the next level of that, where do you see yourself in 5 years perspective, and then how do you get there? And it was a really interesting exercise that we walked everybody through. We had presentation skills and other kind of sponsorship discussions, right? Like how do you get those mentors and those folks to bring you along in your career? Those came from other executive leaders outside of the finance org that came in and had those conversations with us. And then we had a joint event with the Women in Technology group, where we had a lot of the self-proclaimed introverts talk about how they've worked to exude confidence and make sure that that's something that they were able to, highlight in their presentations and even in their emails, right? Sometimes. So it's an evolution, right? We're trying to we're always getting feedback on different opportunities that these women in finance ladies would like to see, but we really believe we've built a strong group and a strong foundation to support this particular ERG. And certainly glad to answer questions about any of the others over time as well through this presentation.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Kate. Nicola, want to bring us home?
Yep. So moving on, we are going to dive a little deeper into what is the FAR program. And so the FAR program, it's our financial analyst rotation program, and it's really a 2-year development program targeting seniors like most of yourselves who will be graduating in the spring and looking for full-time employment after. And so the FAR program provides a lot of really cool and unique opportunities. So joining this program, you get both the support of your manager, but then also the FAR program that's going to help you along the way. And so the FAR program helps provide a lot of different types of training and development opportunities. You get a lot of unique access to senior leadership and mentors. So most recently, what we just wrapped up with our current class is having a series of bi-weekly brown bag lunches. And what those were we invited different leaders and executives from the finance department to come speak with our FAR analysts. And it's really the opportunity to ask them any questions, you know, career development, how they got to the place they are now. And it's really cool. Every company you join will you be able to sit down with the CFO of, you know, a 4,000 person company and ask him, how did you get where you are? What tips do you have for me coming right out of college? And so it's a really exciting time to join the finance team. We're growing. We really look for people who just are looking for a new challenge and are open to learning and gaining new experiences. And, you know, we're really looking for people who are just interested in LPL, interested in business or finance, and really looking to learn and grow. And so, Sarah, if you don't mind going to the next slide, I'll go into what the actual program looks like. So like I mentioned, it's a 2-year rotation program. When you join, you would go through a 2-week training program where you learn about all different departments within finance, within LPL as a whole. How do we make money? And really a deep 2-week training to get you up to speed as quickly as possible. You'll then have 3 different rotations, the first being a year long, so you really can learn, you know, like how to operate and, you know, go through a deep first rotation. Then you'll go through 2 6-month rotations as well. And there's 3 different focus areas that we kind of have. We have financial analysis, which is some of your corporate FP&A or divisional FP&A, and this is really where you would focus on building models, forecasting, doing different types of presentations. We also have another bucket called data analytics, and this is really how do you manipulate data and how do you identify trends and really make decisions based off these trends or insights that you identify. And then lastly, we also have relationship management, and so this is more interacting with our clients or third-party vendors, and how do you model different scenarios and do analysis to help make decisions. And so the really cool opportunity about this program is we have these 3 broad areas that you'll be able to rotate into and really get a wide range of different experiences that you can apply in any position that, you know, you get after your last rotation. And so I will kind of wrap up there to make sure we leave enough time for Q&A as well.
Thank you so much, Nicola and Kate, and of course the students for taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more about us. Before we turn into Q&A, which I do want to leave time for, the job posting is live, so nothing is stopping you if you're interested, if you've heard enough to be able to move forward. The job posting is open through October 23rd, but we're encouraging those, you know, if you're interested, applying sooner than rather than later is probably the better way to go. And then the other thing that I'll just mention is we are coming to the upcoming career fair for business, I think accounting and finance majors a little bit later on this week. So I'm actually not even going to be attending. Nicola is the only common person, and I think we have another 6 or 7 LPL employees, all in finance backgrounds, all across some of the different areas that we've already done. So if you've heard a little bit today, but we don't have quite time to get to your question, or you'd like to talk a little bit more about your specific circumstance, really encourage you guys to stop by our booth on Brazen, sign up for one-on-one. And again, you'll get a lot of different perspectives just above and beyond the 3 of us that you got here today. So with that, you know, raise hands, shoot a message over in the chat, unmute yourself, and let's see what we can answer for you guys following today.
Thank you, Sarah, Nicola, and Katie. That was great. We'd definitely love to move into Q&A, so feel free to type questions in the chat or unmute yourself. and we can read those off for you.
Do you think you guys could describe how exactly the transition works between the 2-year program and employment post the FAR program?
Sure, I'd be happy to take that and let me know if I don't quite hit your question. But so the goal after rotating through the program is that all of the analysts who complete the program are successfully placed within LPL. So there's no sort of like, hey, it's 10 people, but there's only like 4 full-time slots at the end of it. It's definitely making sure that you're just prepared and well-rounded as a financial analyst for any track that you want to move on. In terms of how you get selected for that final process or how you know sort of what area you're going to go in, it's really going to depend a lot on where your interests are. So we care very much about what the passion and the interest is of the analyst. That's how each of the rotations get selected. And then we weigh that against the business needs. So I think for the current class, almost everybody got their first or second choice. And so we would imagine it'd be something similar in terms of final placement. It's what are you interested in? What are you passionate about? And then what are the business needs if we can successfully match on that first choice? So hopefully that helped, Haley. Thank you for the question.
Yes, thank you. That definitely answered it.
A question came in on the chat. Do you have to start at a specific time of year for the 2-year program?
I'll take this. So we are targeting, spring, summer of 2021 for most FAR analysts to start. We found that starting in a class was really beneficial for, our incoming class. With that being said, we did actually have someone this past year who graduated in December and started in January. And so he went through a little bit different training and ultimately joined the class later in June when they all began. So I'd say that if you have a special circumstance or a specific question, definitely stop by our booth at the career fair and we can talk a little bit in more detail. But I'd say that we're targeting a summer start again in 2021.
Thank you. Another question that came in on the chat was, what are the pros and cons attributed to the workplace culture of LPL?
Ooh, that's a good one. Here's what I recommend is, one, I can't speak for everybody that works at LPL, but I'd be happy to give you my perspective of what a pro is and maybe something that I think is an opportunity. And then Nicola and Kate, if you guys want to add in from your own individual perspective, would love to hear it as well. So I would say what a pro is for me at LPL, one of the things that keeps me here, day after day and for years to come, is that there's so much opportunity for my own personal development here. It's astounding. I did not start off in corporate finance. For those on the call and for record, I am not even a finance major. I'm a political science major who found out that I really love numbers, especially when you put dollar signs in front of them, that I'm very interested in the numbers. And so I didn't even come into LPL in corporate finance. I came in actually within our business consulting organization. And so that to me is the highlight, right? That I can grow, develop, find areas I'm interested in, put in the work to be able to make sure I'm qualified to do the role, but that I've had so many mentors that have been willing to open up an opportunity for me or develop me to an opportunity that I just don't feel like that if I ever decide I outgrow corporate finance, that I would ever have to leave LPL. I would be able to work within my network to be able to continue to progress against my own individual goals and know that there's just so many talented people and so many talented roles at LPL where I feel that I would almost always be able to find something that's a challenge, but also keeps me here. In terms of opportunities, I would just say that, if I ever didn't want to be in San Diego, because, not cheap here, maybe the only con is that it's in San Diego and it's in Fort Mill, but the good news is I think we're all opening our eyes into even remote possibilities. So hopefully there's no reason why I'd ever have to leave San Diego, because I would be sad to miss out on everybody here. But Nicola, Kate, I don't know if you guys have anything you'd want to add from your own experience.
Sure. Well, I would echo everything you said, Sarah, around the development and the opportunities within LPL. having come from, you know, a number of other companies before, it's truly unique to this environment. And I do kind of revel in it every day. I will also say, you know, from a pro opportunity concept, we do, you know, it's a work hard, play hard mentality, right? Like I think, and again, it's my own personal experience. I don't think that's necessarily true in every group, but you know, there are deadlines and it's hard work, right? And we're all working towards the same common goal. But we also like to take a moment and relax. And, you know, you'll find, especially in this environment, you know, COVID has been really hard for a lot of companies, and I've been very, very, very proud of LPL as to how we've reacted and how we've all banded together and worked together, and still how they take the time to you know, we'll have a virtual party basically for the whole company, you know, and things like that, where it's still a great environment to do that. And I will add, we're about to open our Austin office as well, so we do have another location coming up.
Thank you, Kate and Sarah, for sharing your pros and cons. A quick thing to the students before you leave, I know we're coming up on time. Please fill out this USD feedback survey. We want to make sure that we're improving virtual events, and so please let us know what you think of today. Another question that came in for LPL is, I haven't decided what I want to focus on in my career. However, it will be business related. LPL have some internship programs to just have a hands-on experience in the broad business world.
Gotcha. So first I would say that I think the FAR program, that's probably the right candidate for FAR, is, hey, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, but I know that I like business. I mean, every business is going to need to be able to sustain itself financially. And so I would say that we're looking for those people, you know, as opposed to somebody who's like, I know I want to be an accountant. I only want to be an accountant. My dad was an accountant, and that's just, I know that about myself. Maybe you should just go right to an accountant role versus getting the experience of some of the breadth there. But in terms directly about the internship program, for those who are not yet seniors, we do have internships. They tend to be over the summer. They're 10-week paid internships offered at both San Diego as well as our Fort Mill location. I believe the majority of them will start recruiting and posting openings and things like that at the beginning of the year. So it might be a little bit premature, but it will be posted through Handshake. There is an internal audit interview that would also sit within the finance department. And I believe that a posting is either available or would be available here shortly. So again, there are internship opportunities that we offer every year, and they are summer internship programs.
Great, thank you, Sarah.
I would just add really quickly that FAR program is, to me, you know, you have M&A activity, you have, you know, the VCFO or the CFO Solutions program where you're dealing with advisors. In my world, you're dealing with third-party vendors, you're dealing with contracts, you're dealing with things of that nature. And so it really is, you get a really broad breadth. So I would echo, this is a great program if you don't quite know where you want to land.
Always good to have multiple skill sets within a position. So thank you, Kate, for adding that. Okay, well, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Thank you, Sarah, Nicola, and Kate, for taking the time today to talk with our students. We really appreciate it. Students, thank you for coming. You can catch more of LPL at the career fair that's coming up on Thursday. I will send a